Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado, and this is my buddy Puccini, who helps me in the craft room. At least he keeps me company and gets into things he shouldn't here on my desk. And we have kind of some interesting things to play with this for this video. I have made 3 cards and we're going to make one up together, and it's using some of the very different papers that are available this time around in the catalog. So let's just get started. Okay, this is some of the material I've been playing with, and this is called the Botanical Layers Bundle, I think is what it's called. I'll put the name up on the video for you. And it comes, these 2 things together. So this stamp set and these vellum papers. And these vellum papers are all 3 3/4 by 5, if I'm right. Yes, 3 3/4 by 5. And it's very interesting. They've got all kinds of crazy shapes in here, or patterns. I'm going to grab a couple of these so you can see them. And then a whole lot of just vellum that is blank, but pre-cut for you 3 3/4 by 5. So these are the patterns. I wasn't sure what to expect and when I ordered this, but I love vellums, and so I thought I would give it a try. So the way this comes is there's this pattern, which would be kind of interesting to layer and or stamp on using some of these things going around this circle. There is this pattern, which, let me put it on here so you can see it. It's like mountains. It's layers of this deep gray on the vellum. And then there's this pattern, which is the leaves that are represented in this stamp set. And then there is this dotted pattern. And then the rest of the packet of paper, which is substantial, is all plain vellum sheets, all cut 3 3/4 by 5. And so I took it as a challenge to figure out what I wanted to do with all of this. So that's the first part. That is the vellum papers and this pattern paper, and then the plain vellum, and this matching stamp set, matching in that all of the things that are on this piece of vellum here are represented in the stamp set. There's that one, there's that one, this one here, this large one over here, and then these little small like floating flowers. Okay, then the next thing I have are these papers, and this comes in a package with 1 of each these papers in it, and it's 12 by 12. It's called Brushstrokes Specialty Paper, and I hope this is coming across in the video. I'm going to try and move it in the light here. This paper does look like it has brush strokes built into it, and it is iridescent, and the 3 colors are Night of Navy, Soft Succulent, and Blushing Bride. And I thought mixing these things together might be kind of interesting. So this is what I've done. I haven't used the blue because the pattern doesn't show up as well as it does behind the lighter colors. It just sort of disappears. So I still haven't figured out what to do exactly with the blue, but I'll do something with it. Okay, so that was where I started. So this is one of the cards that I made. And what I did was I used our stitched rectangle dies, and I cut out this little section so that I could see this paper behind it. And because it's in black, I used the Soft Succulent base here. I didn't even do the inside on this one yet, but I did a Soft Succulent base and then basic black to mat this. So the basic black on this is 3 3/4. No, it's 4 by 5 1/4. Then this piece of the Brushstrokes paper here is 3 3/4 by 5, and then I cut this one down to 3 1/2 by 4 3/4, and I cut this center piece out because I wanted to be able to see this beautiful paper behind it. And so this is one of the cards that I came up with, and I just used the stamp set. Has a couple of sentiments here. Let me show you here. It's "You mean the world to me. Thank you for everything. Thinking of you," and then all of the leaves. So this one I did "Thinking of You" on a piece of this Soft Succulent. Then I did this one, which is on the pink with the black, and I used the polka dotted paper, and I stamped over on the vellum. And of course, you know, stamping on vellum, you have to be very patient. So I stamped on the vellum, and then I set it aside and let it dry, and then I used my heat tool on it to finish it off. But again, those same measurements. So the regular card base, an A2 card base, the black is 4 by 5 1/4. The pink is 3 3/4 by 5, and the vellum I cut down to 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. So there's that one. And then I messed around with this concept, which is just the 3 layers without the vellum. So the Soft Succulent black 3 3/4 by 5, 5 by 3 1/4 by 3 3/4 for the brush strokes. And so I cut another one of these, so I'd have a couple of each kind here. And I thought I would just show you on this how this comes together. This paper is just absolutely stunningly beautiful. And I thought this would be a really fun one just to do a simple note card on, where you did some stamping around of the leaves and then either just a note or nothing, and put together as a set of note cards to go to somebody. Anyway, so I came with this one here and thought, well, I could show you how to do the stamping on this. And the stamping is very cool. I'm going to bring this up a little bit to the, let's see, to the camera. And you can see I used Memento ink, and it's like the leaves have fingerprints. I don't know if you can see it, but it doesn't stamp completely down into all of the grain. And so it's got this really pretty ethereal, almost looks like charcoal gray instead of black item here. So what I thought we could do is just get out the Memento black ink and do some stamping on this. And on this one, I put it around this way, and I thought this one we might do it from either corner to kind of fill it up a little bit. And so I've got some scratch paper here, and I've got several of these stamps mounted. Okay, so here is this stamp, and we're just going to take these big old beautiful black leaves and set it down right here in the corner on this pink paper. I just thought the paper was so unusual, and I love paper, so I decided to get some, and then I ordered this other thing, and I really kind of like these. I think these would be great fun to do in green on white as well, to fill in for foliage. But I thought they were so striking with the black and the pink, and then the black and the green. And so you see, you don't necessarily get a complete what looks like a full stamping there, but it is. And so I'm just going to run this one on this side, and then put another one right in here to kind of fill up that whole corner. And this isn't like vellum, so it dries right away, just like a regular piece of paper. And then I thought I could back one up here and just do the corner up here. And really, for stamping, this is a pretty simple process. The other thing I did was bring my black marker out, and I just filled in a couple of them where I wanted them to be a little bit darker. And frankly, it kind of works. So on some of these, you could actually do some shading, and I know we have blends that have black, but the marker is working just as well, and maybe to just do some of these leaves a little bit darker and leave others of them maybe only partially covered, just to give some definition to some of the leaves. Anyway, I thought it was kind of fun to play with, and they do have kind of an open strip in the center, and I think if you, as long as you keep the integrity of that, I think these came out really, really pretty. Now, so we've got a couple of darker leaves and some of the lighter leaves. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out to another of the leaf stamps. I'm really tempted to do this one because I think, like I did here when I was working with it before, I only did one of the fronds here into the ink, and I just wiped the ink off of the other piece so that it wouldn't ink up. And I'm just going to try putting that one kind of in the middle. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to do that same thing again, and I'm going to ink this last little frond up just because it's on the end. It's a little easier to get to, and make sure these other ones are marked off, and see if I can get just another little layer of leaves in there. I think that's pretty. And I'm going to do that one more time. And this is something you can always do with your stamps. Just wipe off that place that you don't want stamped, or put something over it when you put it on the stamp pad. And I'm just going to give one little bunch of those things right there, and then maybe the second one without inking up. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh, I think that's gorgeous. And look how simple that was. It's very easy to do. And I think this paper just adds so much. It's as if you spent a lot of time creating this background, and then doing the leaves in a couple different shades of the black, I think makes an enormous difference. Now, I think this is dry. Yep, it's dry to the touch. So on this now, I'm going to go ahead and add my seal to the back of this. And I think this would just be an invitation to come in and play with both this paper and that vellum paper, just to see what you might be able to do with it. And like this, I think it would be great fun, and we'll do it here in just a second because I have an idea of what to do for the insides of a couple of these. So this now, we just have to figure out what kind of a sentiment Now I've got, from the stamp set, we've got Thinking of You. We've got Thank You for Everything. That might be kind of pretty there. And, or this one, which says, You Mean the World to Me. And I think that's a, well, actually, I think I like this thank you right in here. So I'm going to bring back my memento, and I'm going to put that thank you. Usually I have sort of in my mind exactly what I'm going to do before I make the card on the video, but with this one, I was having so much fun playing around, I thought I would show you just how I was making this up, and encourage you to do the same thing with some of the material that you have. Just go ahead and play with it and see what happens. So now that says Thank You for Everything right on there. Isn't that pretty? And then this is now ready to go on the front of our card. And so I'm going to add some seal here to the back of this. And I did grab a little bit of black twine. And the other thing I grabbed was some of the new gems for the in colors that included, that have a soft pink and have the Soft Succulent. Okay, well that's not a very good close on that. So let me reburnish this. Of course I've got black ink on my hands now. Making a mess. Let me get this card burnished properly. I've got a little smudge on there, but this is going to go right over the top of it, so nobody's going to see that. There we go. All right. So there is my card front, and isn't that just elegant? So pretty. If we had some of that shimmer ribbon, that would be very beautiful on here to add to the shine. But what we do have are these, they're opal rounds, 2021-23 in color opal rounds. And while it's not the right pink, I think it's going to work. So I'm going to, rather than put black on this, I think I'm just going to take a couple of these opal rounds and put them in this card front here. Isn't that pretty? Now I think we could take a little strip of the two colors here, and I'm going to go off camera with my trimmer, and on this one I think I'm going to cut an edge of this to put on the inside, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I have done is I made some insides for these, and let's see, I want to make sure I get this right. Since this one had the larger leaves, I cut a piece of that vellum and then put some of this pink paper behind it there, and I thought we could just put that on the inside of this card, and that way we bring a little of the outside to the inside. And there we go. I think that gives us some of the shimmer and the similar leaf pattern on the inside of the card. So that is that one finished. Now this one had, I got some smears going on this one, so I'll have to do some surgery on that one. But on this one, what I did was I cut a little piece of that polka dotted vellum, and I cut a piece of the pink right here, and I thought that one might go on the inside of this one. And so like that. Okay, so there we go. There's that one. And then on these, this one had this pattern on it. It had all of the patterns on it. So I took this piece, and the only thing it doesn't have on it is those big leaves, but it's got this very distinctive leaf here. So I thought that one might go on the inside of this card. And I know I'm going to get the question, so I'm going to tell you now. Everybody always wants to know what I'm using to stick down my vellum. And I'll show you here in just a second. So this one for the inside of here, and I think that really is very pretty. And this last one, I have an idea here. I've got my piece of white, and I've got a piece of this pretty green, and I'm going to have it go from top to bottom. So I'm going to add my seal onto this one and put that in place right here, leaving a little bit of a margin. And then this one had both of these patterns more prominently, so I thought those could go here. And this is what I'm doing with my vellum. I use a product called Plus Glue Tape for Vellum. I was made aware of this by someone on my team, Dot Sherlin, over on the Western Slope when she was still a demonstrator on my team. And she would send me all different kinds of material, and this stuff I love, and you don't use very much of it, so you have to decide which side of the vellum you want to have up front. And just a little tiny bit on the back of that, and it can barely be seen, and it's almost completely invisible on the back of your vellum. And so it's a very, very interesting product from that standpoint. Thanks to Dot for showing me about this stuff some time ago. And again, it doesn't take much, just a little bit, and it sticks to the vellum. And if your vellum has any pattern at all, then it the adhesive doesn't show much anyway. And so there we have that one all ready to go. And I'm going to put that one on the inside of my card here. And then I'll show you these glossy dots. This way some of that pretty shiny paper shows through too. So that is the insides for all of them, done each a little bit differently depending on what was on the outside. And this is kind of fun because if you're an envelope stamper, sometimes like I am, you have this whole stamp set that you could just put images on the outside of the envelopes. Now this is those gems that we were talking about earlier, the in color gems, and it has the Soft Succulent. So I can add a couple of pieces of Soft Succulent to this, and it should be a perfect match. So I'm just going to put one on that one right on my sentiment. And I've got some on these two, but I don't have anything on this. So I'm just going to add a few dots down here in the corner, like 3 of them, and call it done. And so there we go. There's that pretty new paper and the vellum and the Botanical Layers die set. And it's got lots of pretty elements. And I think it would be great fun to use these as examples to just do up a whole bunch of that vellum. And there's nothing to say you have to do these all in black. I think this would be stunning on some of the other colors, with these done in different colors of green on white paper and with other flowers as well. So I think there's a lot of possibilities with this, and then also with the vellum, because they've given you the guide here. Now this one is a little bit of a mystery to me. On the pink, it looks pretty good. and on this Soft Succulent, it looks pretty good. So that is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. And let's see, there's still a little bit left in May, and there's a great join offer going on. $125 worth of product for $99, and then on top of that you get in color cardstock in the new colors, cardstock, ink, designer series paper, and grid paper. $66.50 worth. So it makes your join offer worth about $191 for $99, which I think is a very good deal. And as just an announcement, and I won't be making any videos next week. I have lots and lots of family coming into town, many of whom haven't been here to my house since my husband passed. And so it's going to be a very close-knit family time for my family and I. So I will take a respite for next week, and then I will be back with bells on for the following week, catching up with Paper Pumpkin and a bunch of other things. My May prize is a $60 shopping spree on me, and you can get in my drawing by putting an order of any size on my store, lbedinger.stampinup.net, or you can get to it through my blog, www.ingenuity.com, and I will try to put up a few posts on my blog this week as I get a minute. So thanks again for stopping by, and I'll see you in a week. Bye.